sweat hard, and then the hair turned back to its natural state. Get out my face. And we ain't had no such thing then as curl wax that would keep your hair straight, child. And your mother would put all this damn grease in your hair. You hearing that shit sizzle? Ah! Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Today's looky will be our Camilla flowers. It is on sale, or they are on sale for $15. And my Layana wood bangles, they are on sale for $35. Like I said, it is fitting to get warm. I got to clear out all that old stuff so I can bring in the new. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about the Jennifer Lewis, the mother of Black Hollywood. My mother was the sort who found my father in a bar with another woman and took his cash from him right on the spot. She told his date, "You're going to buy your own drink tonight because this money is going to feed his 7 kids." Oh, I like it. I like that. Edward James Lewis, my father, was a sharply dressed, good-looking man, the color of the walnuts that grew plentifully around town.
The story goes that my mother was walking home from high school one day when Ed rode up on his bicycle, put her on the seat, rode her to a romantic spot, and proposed. She was 19 years old when they married in 1949. I arrived in 1957 after Vitrella, Larry, Edward, baby bro, that's Edward, Robin, and Jackie.
My parents separated when I was just 2 weeks old, and Daddy wasn't around a lot as I grew up. Like many men in Kenlock, Daddy drank. He was often out of work. Again, like a lot of men in Kenlock, and when he did work, it was for low wages. People knew each other in Kenlock. We were a tight community with half of the folks in town related in some way. We sat on front porches calling out to each other from the road or across the yard. We had some characters too. There was Huckabuck, Cuckoo, Chicken Neck, the Pigfoot Man, and Cat Johnny, who always drove a Cadillac. We had a number of small shops and restaurants: Shack, Pappy's for barbecue, Hal's Drive-In for delicious garlic fried chicken, and Uncle Dick's, where we bought dill pickles, Lay's potato chips, and penny candy. My favorites were Mary Jane's, Nut Chews, and Watermelon Suckers. Mr. Hurst would do, he in the store, "Mr. Harris, can I get some ice cream?" "Sure, baby, sure." He go over there to the freezer. He's sweating because, back then ain't no AC, okay? It's just a big-ass fan, right? And St. Louis, Missouri. No, Kenlock, Missouri, okay? So he bending over getting the ice cream, digging it out, and all the while, because it's so hot in there, the sweat is dripping down into the ice cream. I'm saying to myself, where the hell is the FDA at? How is this possible? She was ambitious for herself and for us kids. Shortly after I was born, she got job training and soon secured employment as a certified nursing attendant. When I was 1, she found a job at the St. Louis County Hospital where she worked until it closed in 1982. Even though Mama supplemented her hospital job by occasionally cleaning homes in the white suburbs, 8 miles is a lot, and we were still very poor. When I was a toddler, we were forced to move into an old abandoned Baptist church on Jefferson Street to avoid homelessness. About 9 or 10 of my grandma's small 16 children were already living there. Damn. My family was in the basement, only 2 windowless rooms for Mama and the 7 of us kids. Mama strung a towel on a rod to separate our space from Aunt Louise's and her 3 kids. We shared a kitchen with them, and oh, you can imagine the drama, especially when there wasn't enough to eat for one family, let alone 2. The church was dark and cramped, but my mother was an immaculate housekeeper. We slept 3 and 4 to a bed. And even though we had no windows, Mama hung curtains on the brick walls to make the place look as nice as she could. She kept our hair pressed, our clothes ironed, and made us use that milky white shoe polish on our tennis shoes every week. The Lewis children were always well groomed. We were happy to move from the church to a creaky house on Wesley Street that had no hot water. Now that I was older, I had to use the outhouse. My ass froze on the seat in those sub-zero Missouri winters. Ooh, the outhouse. I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it. Now look. So one time I had went to camp, right? I think it was Camp Brown, right? I couldn't go to the same camp as Mick because Mick was 3 years older than me. Mickey, Danny, all of them was older than me. So I had to go by myself, okay, to my by myself camp, right? Child, oh my God, if it wasn't for this nice camp lady, oh my God, her name was Sue. I will never forget her. She an old white lady, dedicated her life to helping, poor black children. But my mother was gooping them, okay? Because my mother wasn't poor, She was black, but she wasn't poor, but she was gooping them, You know how you got that auntie that know damn well she worked for the government, but she sneaking her kids to get, like all the benefits that's free, until they catch you. That was my mammy. She used to take us around there to that Walker Jones clinic. I'm saying to myself, why the hell are we in a clinic, Mama, when you got the Blue Cross Blue Shield, mammy? We can go down there to the Children's Hospital. I was considered a bad child, quite unruly. I lied, rattled, teased, and yelled, making myself a general nuisance. One memorable beating took place when I ruined my freshly pressed hair. On Saturdays, Mama straightened her 5 girls' hair and neatly rolled it around brown paper strips so we'd look our best the next morning in church. Mama finished my hair and sent me to sit quietly on the front porch, but it was hot. I couldn't resist running through a lawn sprinkler. When I heard Mama looking for me, I crawled into the doghouse and sobbed as my hair went back to the natural state. I stayed there until dark. When I emerged and tried to sneak into the house, Mama was waiting with a switch. She whooped me up and down the street. Now, remember I told y'all that I don't believe in, discipline, physical discipline for children? I don't believe in it for situations just like that. There's no reason for that child to have gotten a beat over hair. Yeah, I know you took about 30 minutes with that damn, what is that stuff that they was pressing our hair with back then? I don't know, but it was just thick ass grease. Yes, I understand it, okay? But I'm a child. I know you told me to sit there, but God damn it, it's hot, okay? You can't beat me for doing childish things, okay? And that is the reason why I say if you cannot guarantee me that you are not beating your child because you are rageful about something else, there'll be no discipline in at least this house. On every Sunday, me and my sister used to get our hair pressed, okay? My sister hated getting her hair pressed. In fact, we didn't even call it pressed. We used to call it be brave, okay? Brave. Sister, you going to go get your hair brave today? No, I don't want to, because my sister had shorter hair then. So she had to be really brave, okay? And her texture was a little coarser than mine. So she had to be brave, because that means my mama had to put that work in on her hair. But never did my mother ever whoop ass. Now, she done whooped some asses for other things, but never would she ever whoop ass over a hairdo. Man, get out my face. Get out my goddamn face when the child can go from here to there, sweat hard, and then the hair turn back to its natural state. Get out my face. And we ain't had no such thing then as curl wax that would keep your hair straight, child. And your mother would put all this damn grease in your hair. You hearing that shit sizzle? Looking back, I see how hard my mother worked to provide for us. But throughout my childhood, she was either emotionally absent or swinging her feelings around like a hammer. Figuratively, and literally. Sometimes she struck people, especially those who were closest to her. Remember that misplaced anger I was telling y'all about? Her rage had no end, but neither did the obstacles she faced. When I was 9, Mama moved us to a house on Jackson Street. It was certainly a step up. We were overjoyed to have hot water and indoor plumbing. Life seemed to finally settle in for my family, especially because Mama's scrimping and saving meant she came home more often with bags full of groceries, giving us a welcome break from the powdered milk, lard, and blocks of government cheese. The house on Jackson Street is where I began impersonating movie stars and recreating the dance moves I saw done by the Supremes and the Temptations on TV shows like American Bandstand and the Ed Sullivan Show. Again, I love them both. I love Diggity Clarkity and Ed Sullivan. I did not feel anything about them that said racist. Nothing. I learned to curse in the house on Jackson Street too. But I was careful. I knew a bad word could get a severe beating from Mama. The house on Jackson Street is also where I first found myself overcome by sadness at night. I didn't think about where the sadness came from or tell anyone. I just would cry into my pillow or while I sat alone in the bathroom to try to gain control. Sometimes I would sing the mournful Mahalia Jackson song that I loved so much. By 6th grade, I had acquired a reputation as a charmer and a fighter, much in the tradition of my mother. With the kids on my block and at school, I was large and in charge. I had authority. I was often quite the bully, but really I had little to back up my sharp tongue and controlling behavior. Sometimes I got in over my head. I teased Yvette about a rash on the back of her neck. The next day, I had to carry a kitchen knife because that daggone Yvette wasn't a sucker. She got a kitchen knife in her hand. She ain't tell nobody she got a kitchen knife, but just in case she got to stab one of them bitches, she ready, okay? Luckily, her daddy was driving along the same street that she was walking on with all them kids behind her plotting to get her ass. Like, what's going on? Why these children is following my baby? Jenny, come here. Get your ass in this car. And you know how kids are. 24 hours later, we forget about everything. The next day, we playing together. Luckily, in that moment, her father saved her. You know, what if her father wasn't there? That shit could have went horribly wrong. During my adolescence, we moved into a new house where I finally had my own room. Sort of. It was also the bathroom. Girl, for the whole household. But I did have a curtain to separate me from the toilet. Child. Our household always had an undercurrent of tension, fear, and rage. There were mornings when Mama entered my room, pulled the bedclothes off me, and beat me for some infraction the night before. I was often miserable at home when I wasn't crying alone. I prayed hard for Jesus to come and make everything right. Again, the misplaced anger of parents. If you are... Child, I'm asking too much. I know that I'm asking too much because half of the people that are having children are not even mentally capable of having children. By the time I entered Kenlock High School, my brother and sisters were either working in college or married. The house was quieter. I had fewer people to hide behind, so I spent most of my time trying to avoid my mother. My teachers at Kenlock High School knew about me before I even got there. As my friend Rose Wilson put it, you were number one, Jennifer, our role model. We all wanted to be like you. I soon ruled high school, much as I did in junior high. Free Angela was our rallying cry when I staged a walkout in 10th grade in support of Angela Davis, the brilliant young university professor and revolutionary whose huge afro and miniskirts were unforgettable in the photos that captured her on the news. Davis' image hung in the homes of Black people as a hero and in the post offices on the FBI's list of the most wanted fugitives. Now in January 1972, Davis was being held without bail on charges of murder and conspiracy because she had purchased guns that were used in a courtroom shootout in Marin County, California, about a year and a half earlier. The shootout took place during the trial of George Jackson, a Black Panther and political prisoner who became famous as one of the Soledad brothers. Angela wasn't a member of the Panthers. She was in the Communist Party, which was just as bad in the eyes of the FBI. She was also in love with the compelling, brilliant Jackson, who died along with 5 others in the courtroom tragedy. Mind you, I had no knowledge of these details when I organized the walkout. I knew that Angela was a powerful Black woman. I loved her afro and had begun to wear one myself a few months earlier, as had my mama and some of my sisters. When I heard about the nationwide protest on the Black radio station that morning, I was ready. With my big mouth and social power, it wasn't hard to get most of the students out of their seats. When Davis was acquitted of all charges a few months later, I don't think I was aware of it. I was consumed by a million activities for church and school, staying out the house as much as I could. The summer after my freshman year at college, Mama wanted me to come home, but I felt my place was out in the world, not back in Kenlock. I decided to stay on campus and get a job at a nearby McDonald's. After 2 days of cleaning toilets and mopping floors, I begged the manager to change my duties because I'm going to be famous. He assigned me to bun detail. Oh my God. Let me tell you what happened one day, right? She said when you're on the buns, all you have to do is, because it's a bun warmer. I didn't know that it was a bun warmer. I didn't know that. Maybe it's then and not now, because I never knew they was warming up my buns at McDonald's. All you had to do was put the, unwarmed buns inside the, machine, and then bring the top of the machine down onto the bottom of the machine for a second. Something would beep, beep. Push it up, pull all the buns out. Okay, this is what was supposed to be happening. One day, she was having a whole conversation with her co-worker about, child, I ain't gonna be here for long. You can stay here with these fries, burgers, and shakes, but I'm not gonna be here long, All the while, the machine didn't beat. So she lifts the machine back up. Still talking, she pulls down the top part of the bun warmer onto the bottom part. Again, same buns in there. She did it like 3 or 4 times, up, down, never removing the buns. The buns inside the warmer getting black as shit until the buns caught on fire. Suddenly, flames shot out from the toaster, and the buns turned to charcoal because I had lowered the toaster on the same batch about 4 times. I was fired on the spot. After that, ladies and gentlemen, I never had a job outside of show business again. I know that's right. Don't put me on a bun warmer. I might burn some shit down in here. Maybe I ought to go back to the toilets. For real, that's easy because you ain't even got to talk to nobody. My cousin got a good job back home cleaning up the toilets and bathrooms for Metro. I said, girl, how the hell you get that job? I wanted that job before I became a PO because people leave you alone. They leave you alone. Yeah, them bathrooms nasty, but so what? Some of y'all motherfuckers' houses is nasty. Okay? Some of y'all, got dog doo-doo in the basement that y'all ain't cleaned out forever. 15 years had passed since I had left my hometown when Rachel, my therapist, began to help me explore the details of my childhood and my relationship with my mother, despite my protest. At this point, Kenlock was a ghost town, sold off to the airport, and its residents scattered around the country. Rachel had broken the shell. She cracked me open with her questions, and over the next few months, I began to talk about mama. Child, you got to watch them therapists, though, because them therapists will make everything about your mama. Wait a minute, we talking about me liking to eat sunflower seeds. Why the fuck are we talking about my mama? I learned that treatment is not a smooth, straight path. I would see bright moments, but then become filled to the brim with anxiety and sadness, resolving it all in a drunken streak. My discussion with Rachel unearthed long suppressed feelings that showed themselves in horrible dreams, my tears falling before I could awake. One time when I fucked up an audition, I threatened to quit and leave the country for good. Rachel said something to me at the time that turned a light bulb on in my mind. When you're running, Jennifer, you take yourself with you. I was dumbfounded when Rachel characterized my behavior as extreme. Had she said, "You're crazy," I would have agreed. I had been crazy all my life. And when she said mental illness, I thought, bitch, you crazy. I associated mental illness with people who couldn't function, raving lunatics in straitjackets. What was I doing in therapy anyway? Black people don't go to therapy. Rachel told me that medical science believes bipolar disorder is partly caused by an imbalance of brain chemicals. She described me to a T. Mania? So that's what y'all call it? You mean there is a name for describing why I'm loud and talk fast and walk fast and feel like my brain is racing 1,000,000 miles an hour? Is that why I rage, create drama, and speed when I drive? Compulsive, you say. The incessant doodling, the endless braiding and unbraiding my hair. Impulsive, the arguing with people and storming off, kicking shit, throwing shit. Yeah, okay. I guess all of that describes me. But, ... Even though I resisted the definition of manic symptoms, I had to admit a lot of it described things I had been experiencing my entire life.